in the Jar Football Show. Welcome back, episode 176 of our football program. My name is Clark Dupree, and welcome to all here today. We have a featured discussion about franchise tags. What are they? How do they work? And how are they affecting the NFL landscape around us today? Namely, how does it affect the Bengals and Trey Hendrickson? How does it affect the Arizona Cardinals and Kyler Murray? And many more. That'll probably be the meat and potatoes of what we talk about today, as it is the franchise tag deadline. So, without saying much more to it on the surface than that, we understand the future of a couple players here today as a result of not being franchise tagged. My Bengals, I would say, are in the center of this discussion. Fans are upset. Some fans are fine with it. What I didn't know with this Trey Hendrickson thing, my original reaction was to be mad about Trey Hendrickson, because when you look at it from an uninformed view, you would think, well, the Bengals had the opportunity to trade Trey and get a second-round pick, or get even, they were asking for a first-round pick when they were talking about trading him. And there's kind of just been all this back and forth. It's an organization that is notorious for looking to win arguments as opposed to win games. I don't think that is the most untrue sentiment in the world. And the Bengals have kind of played this cat and mouse game now for 2 years with a guy who led the NFL in sacks in 2024. I know that people, sports fans particularly, are going to talk about how the most recent season went. It's only natural for Bengals fans like myself to talk about how disappointing this past season was. 6 wins. Burrow out most of the year. But when you look at the 2024 season for the Bengals, I think it's one of the greatest disappointments in all of professional sports history. Burrow threw for 40-plus touchdowns and 4,000 yards. Trey Hendrickson led the league in sacks. Jamar Chase won the Triple Crown. And you still find a way to lose games in 2024. You don't make the playoffs. In my mind, it's no contest that the 2024 season is the biggest indictment on the Cincinnati Bengals organization by far. And since then, the Bengals have played this cat and mouse game with Trey Hendrickson. They've gone back and forth with him. You could see it in his eyes in certain interviews. I'm talking Trey Hendrickson. You could see the life, the enthusiasm leaving his eyes in real time. Now, could you look at a guy like Trey Hendrickson and say this is a guy that quit on his team down the stretch, especially this past season? Maybe. But do we really know what went on behind closed doors in these dealings? I know the Bengals ownership group on the NFLPA credit cards, report cards this year, Bengals ownership graded out at a D-. So I couldn't imagine they'd be the easiest people to deal with. So I don't think it's a surprise to anyone that Trey Hendrickson is moving on. He posted a farewell message on Instagram today. So he's gone. There's no... How about we start, actually, by talking about what the franchise tag is? Most ball knowers will know it. But let's just talk about what the franchise tag is. It's a formula. So you take the average salary from the top 3 positions and your position. So say the top 3 corners make $20 million base, $25 million base, $18 million base. The average of those 3 is going to be $21 million. So that's your franchise tag number, $21 million. And it's all guaranteed. But it's salary only. So there's no bonuses. Bonuses are excluded from that. Most elite players at their position have long-term contracts with salary and bonuses included. So here's a real deal scenario. Free agent market offers $20 million salary and $10 million in bonuses. That's 30. You get $30 million in total. Franchise tag only guarantees the $20 million, the salary portion, but the player loses the opportunity to get that $10 million in bonuses. So the team locks him in for only 1 year, and the player gets guaranteed money, but no longer-term security. It's almost like saying, hey, we want you, but we're not sure if we want you for a long time. We're not sure if we want to lock you in. Basically, we don't want to see you go somewhere else. But we also don't know if we want you here that long. So the psychological message that's being sent is you're valuable enough to keep away from competitors, but we're not ready to commit to you long term. Think about how you would feel if you were a lady and you got franchise tagged. Probably be kind of pissed off. You know, it's like we're in a relationship together. I'm gonna franchise tag you. I'm gonna lock you in for 12 months here and then see how we're feeling. If it was a lady, you know, you'd probably get pretty pissed off and find a way to make problems, you know. So what the player hears is your backup plan. We're still shopping for alternatives here. And the reality is, the team's telling you we need you for this year while we figure out a longer-term strategy, whether that includes you or not. So we're seeing a couple of guys' futures decided today on not being tagged. Kyler Murray's one of them. I think for most of there's really 3 major non-tags that occurred today. 2 of them we saw coming. The last one is actually pretty unexpected. Kenneth Walker, the running back for the Seahawks, had a huge hand in helping them get that ring. Was not franchise tagged by the Seahawks today. It looks like they're going to go with Charbonnet. And John Schneider, the GM of the Seahawks, clearly knows what he's doing. But I thought that was pretty shocking that Kenneth Walker will not return, potentially, to the Seahawks. So it's already happened, but at 4 p.m. Eastern today, teams must choose one of 2 paths. They either tag somebody, you lock them in for 1 year at that value we talked about, or you let them walk and they hit the free agency market. The thing that people are not talking about as much that I learned on Twitter today is that the league gives teams a compensatory draft pick if a player they do not tag signs elsewhere. And that compensatory pick can be a 7th rounder all the way up to a 3rd rounder, depending on the market caliber of the player that was not franchise tagged. So we can anticipate that the Bengals will get a 3rd round pick the following year in return for not tagging Trey Hendrickson. This is something I just learned today. The way I learned it, I was bitching and moaning on Twitter about how the Bengals could have traded for Trey Hendrickson and instead let him walk away with nothing. That is technically not the case. Now, if you look at Duke Tobin's track record, the de facto GM of the Bengals, every time I say his name, I got to explain who he is because the situation's so fucked in the front office in Cincinnati. A Duke Tobin third-round draft pick has not proven to be worth much. Hell, a Duke Tobin first-round draft pick has not proven to be much, other than Burrow and Chase, and Higgins in the second round, who, I mean, I think a mentally challenged GOAT could have made those picks. But I don't think that a third-round pick is going to be... Look, here's the thing. You operate the way you operate when you're the Bengals. You can't fire owners. So you got Trey Hendrickson walking. And I bet that Trey goes somewhere else. Well, of course he'll go somewhere else. He wrote a farewell letter today. And I bet he plays just the way he played in 2024. Guys, I am, by the day, losing hope in the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm losing it. I saw a tweet yesterday that it was from a Bengals fan, and they were talking about their greatest fear as a Bengals fan would be that it doesn't work out this season again for the fourth straight year, miss the playoffs, and the Bengals go self-destruction mode and deal everybody and start from the bottom again. I don't think we're too terribly far away from that reality. This is the dysfunction that comes with the Bengals organization. And I do think that the Bengals get a ton of flack in the media for how they operate. 85 to 90% of it is deserved. But there are other teams out there that are equally as dysfunctional that don't get the same kind of coverage for whatever reason. Arizona Cardinals are one of them. Dead last in all NFLPA report card metrics, the Arizona Cardinals, number 32. Okay. I had a Zoom meeting with their owner, Michael Bidwill. It was a group Zoom meeting. I remember going into it thinking, I'm about to talk to an NFL owner. This is sick. And I came out of it thinking I would never work for that pussy in 1,000 years. And the main problem with organizations like that seems to be nepotism. Michael Bidwill inherited the team, the Arizona Cardinals, from his father. Mike Brown inherited the Bengals from his father. And now he's grooming all of his children to run things. And it's reported that Mike Brown is not a big part of the day-to-day operations with the Cincinnati Bengals anymore. It's his daughter, Katie Blackburn, who we've talked about ad nauseum on this show. By the way, if you guys are popping in here for the first time, welcome to In the Jar Football Show, where we rant about the latest happenings at all levels of football. Check out our channel to see more if you ain't sold on subscribing yet. And if you like what you've heard or seen so far, smash that subscribe button. There should be the option to do that right here, right now. It doesn't cost you anything, won't be put on the email list, nothing, and it helps us out and continue to bring the best of the best to you. So make sure you smash that button. Bare minimum, if you ain't sold yet, just double tap the screen. And if you don't do either, don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. So here's what's actually happening with a franchise tag. the team saying you're valuable, but we're uncertain about you long term. Translation, we'd rather pay you X guaranteed for 1 year than commit to X per year for 4 years. Why? Because we think you might decline. Or they want flexibility to replace you. There's a big leverage imbalance here. The player can refuse the tag, but that's an absolutely nuclear option. It looks bad, and you lose paychecks. Player can negotiate long-term while tagged, but still locked in if talks fail. Player can get traded after they're tagged, but the player cannot freely shop themselves, which is the whole purpose of a franchise tag. Here's the second tag problem. If you get tagged twice in a row, and I know people were talking about the Bengals doing this to people, it seems like the Bengals, whenever franchise tags come up, it always seems like the Bengals are in these discussions, which does not help the cheapness allegations. If you get tagged twice in a row, it's a clear signal. Organization doesn't want to commit. I need to start franchise tagging the women in my life. See how they feel about it. It'll probably piss them off pretty good. Second tag is more expensive than the first because there's a penalty escalation. So what they're saying is we're not deciding, we're just delaying indefinitely. And the player's morale gets harmed in this process. So that's really the MO on franchise tags. Now, I was shocked to see that the Seahawks did not franchise tag Kenneth Walker. He just had a huge, huge hand in the Seattle Seahawks getting themselves a Super Bowl ring. But it's colder than a dope game out here, man. Seahawks are going to go with Charbonnet. I don't agree with the move at all. Because Charbonnet is a smaller guy. He packs a punch. He's obviously got tremendous upside potential. But when the Seahawks needed him, Kenneth Walker absolutely carried the load. He was so reliable in the most important moments. He's a Super Bowl MVP for crying out loud. And he was not the main guy for the majority of the season for the Seahawks. Was not the main guy at any stretch of the term. But when they needed him most, he delivered. And so that's why I think the Seahawks are making a mistake not franchise tagging him. But he's now poised to become an unrestricted free agent when the new league year opens. Other news, college athletics. Mitch Barnhart, athletic director for the University of Kentucky Wildcats athletic program, is retiring. Much to the joy of literally everybody in Lexington, Kentucky and the surrounding area. Here's Mitch Barnhart's achievements during his career at Kentucky. 2 lifetime contracts for coaches that are no longer there. Billy Gillispie, you guys, if you're OG college basketball fans, you'll remember when Billy Gillispie was the head coach of the Kentucky Wildcats. It was an absolute disaster. The guy had a big drinking problem. He had an even bigger whore problem. And he ran these Kentucky Wildcats basketball players until they were bleeding through their shoes. And they had some of the worst teams in program history. Mitch Barnhart, when he hired Billy Gillispie from Texas A&M, I think it was back in 06, 07. Everybody thought it was a great, genius hire. I remember reading the Lexington Herald Leader when I was a kid about the Billy Gillispie hire. Mitch Barnhart is really thinking out of the box here, hiring this Texas A&M head coach. He's really getting creative here. He's trying to be cute. And it resulted in some really lackluster teams and a couple of wasted years for the Kentucky basketball program. Billy Gillispie, Joker Phillips. You guys remember Joker Phillips? Head coach of the Kentucky football program, internal hire, had some success, I believe, as the OC during the Andre Woodson years. We're going way back. If you're Gen Z, I apologize because you won't know what the fuck I'm talking about. Joker Phillips was probably up there with one of the worst head coaches in Kentucky football history. They refused to fund upgrades to the basketball facilities. Two attempted sexual assault cover-ups. And generational NIL handcuffing deal with JMI, who I interned with. I interned with JMI, and I don't know much more about that. I read some details about how Kentucky had structured their NIL different than most other programs. I know for a fact that Kentucky's about 2 years behind because Mitch Barnhart, when NIL became a thing, chose to go la 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 la. JMI holds all the commercial rights to University of Kentucky athletics. A restrictive NIL deal with JMI Sports that limited recruiting. So let's see. Tell me more about the JMI deal. Let's see what Grok has to say here. Because I would like to know the specifics. So the JMI Sports deal with University of Kentucky is a long-term multimedia rights partnership that has been in place since 2014-15. That was when I was interning there. With a major extension announced in August 2025. UK originally signed a 15-year deal with JMI Sports, which is a company that specializes in multimedia rights. Around 2015, valued at about $210 million in guaranteed rights fees, which started around $9 million annually and scaled up. This covered things like radio broadcast rights, signage, sponsorships on UKathletics.com, and other advertising inventory. In August 2025, UK and JMI announced a historic extension through 2040 with a conservative estimate value exceeding $465 million, one of the largest such deals in college athletics. And key elements include extending multimedia rights, adding strategic support for NIL, advising on facility development and fan engagement. Now here's the NIL component. BBNIL. BBN. As part of the 2025 extension, JMI took a bigger role in NIL by launching the BBNIL suite, essentially UK's in-house NIL platform and collective. This replaced or integrated previous external fan-driven efforts like BBN United. It aims to connect UK athletes with UK's 200-plus official corporate partners for deals. Athletes can pursue independent third-party NIL deals, but when using university trademarks, logos, facilities, or tying into revenue sharing from the school, there are restrictions to protect the university brand and prioritize official partners. So that's just a nice way of saying that JMI controls who the athletes do business with. Doesn't sound good to me. Mitch Barnhart and JMI leaders have described it as a collaborative way to provide structured, educational, and supplemental opportunities for athletes beyond basic revenue sharing with a focus on long-term financial stability and competitiveness. The deal, here's the criticism, has drawn significant backlash, particularly around men's basketball. Critics argue it's restrictive compared to other schools, claim that JMI in UK requires recruits and prospects to sign structured agreements that sign away certain NIL rights or commit to prioritizing deals with official partners, something less common elsewhere, where athletes have more unrestricted freedom from third-party deals. Yeah, so that's what that is. We're telling you, as a Kentucky athlete, who you can and can't do business with. This has allegedly created hurdles in recruiting the 2026 class. For example, slow commitments or negative recruiting by rivals highlighting handcuffs, with some prospects reportedly backing out over contract terms or negotiation issues. So this has already hurt recruiting for Kentucky. There's been frustration over lack of transparency. UK provided limited details beyond initial press releases, and Barnhart has defended it strongly, of course, calling some criticisms ridiculous. That's what people do when they're wrong. And insisting athletes aren't prohibited from outside deals, just can't misuse UK IP for non-partner endorsements. IP, I don't know what that stands for. So that's what Mitch Barnhart is responsible for. I mean, if you take, you take the the franchise Cincinnati Bengals and University of Kentucky athletic program are two entities that I'm very familiar with growing up in Lexington, Kentucky. And I just wonder if dysfunction is just part of the element of being in that area. It might be in the food that they eat. You know, they might be a little behind on the times with understanding nutritional needs. I know when I go back to Lexington, I'm always eating terrible. I mean, I used to eat terrible. Now it's proactive. You know, you know what to get at the grocery store, but I don't know if it's in the food. I don't know what goes through people's brains in that general area, and I don't have much more to rant on than that. But like the way Mitch Barnhart does things is ass backwards. The way Cincinnati Bengals ownership does things is ass backwards. 95% of the people I know that I grew up with do things ass backwards. It's got to be something about the area that just jacks you up. And I love where I grew up. I love my hometown to an extent. Healthy boundaries. It's got to be something, man. Mitch Barnhart's just ass backwards. And I cannot tell you one Kentucky fan that is upset to see Mitch Barnhart leaving. He's the longest tenured athletic director in the SEC. And for what? What has he achieved? The 2012 College Basketball National Championship is the pinnacle of any achievement for the University of Kentucky Athletic Department by far. And that was almost 15 years ago, 14 years ago. He was previously the AD at Oregon State from 98 to 2002. Anything else on this? Yeah, I don't think I have much else on this. It's just good to see him go. We'll see if Will Stein has any success as the University of Kentucky head football coach. I just don't have faith in any coach that is hired by Barnhart at this point. Like, I think in order for these programs to start having success, and who the hell knows who Kentucky is going to bring on as the next athletic director, it would be very Kentucky to bring on somebody worse than Barnhart as the successor. So we will see. I think we covered all the main discussions we want to cover today. I had something about Ole Miss and SEC money dynamics. But frankly, that's just not lighting me up. And we are coming up on time here. Yeah, there's nothing in here that really gets me feeling anything down in my plums. You know what I'm saying? So we've been rolling about 30 minutes. That's perfect. We'll let you guys go here, man. This is In the Jar football program. If you haven't hit subscribe already, I don't know what the hell you're doing. I get it if you want to do like due diligence and like check out the channel and see what we have to offer. We're here every single day. We're here every single weekday, Monday through Friday around 6:30 Eastern. We go live. It's best watched on the phone because right now we're in the growth phase of our show. That means that we have to go vertical to be discovered in the shorts feed. So if you want that change, the best way you can do that is hitting subscribe so that I can start hiring producers and camera people and things like that to help me, because this is a one-man operation, so we really would appreciate your support there. We're live on X, we're live on Kick, we're live on Twitch. Those are other places you can get the show, and I got to upload the audio side of things, but you can also listen on Spotify as well. But as fans of the show know, it is time for me to head to the dojo for some American Jiu-Jitsu. And so with that, I will leave you guys. Make sure you sub. Bare minimum, just double tap the damn screen, dude. I mean, God, I'm almost sick of having to say it. No, I'm not. I love doing this. I love doing this for y'all. This is In the Jar football show where we rant about the most recent rumblings in the football world at all levels. A lot of times we favor college. There's college basketball going on. In fact, the Kansas Jayhawks are in Phoenix tonight. Play the Arizona State Sun Devils. I'm thinking about heading down there after jiu-jitsu, because I want to watch the Kansas Jayhawks play. I love college basketball. You know, that love has started to rekindle itself. I shut myself off from basketball for years. I was just kind of like, this sport's gay. But college basketball is still badass. And I loved it deeply for a very long time. And I'm rekindling that love. It feels like I'm beginning a new relationship. It's almost it's something else, guys. It's something else. But might go and watch that tonight if I can get a ticket or two. I think that's it. Franchise tags, Cincinnati Bengals, Trey Hendrickson, Kyler Murray, Kenneth Walker. We didn't really talk about the implications of Kyler Murray. Is just writing on the wall, man. I think he's a career backup in the NFL. It's just how I see it. I don't think he has it. Hope I'm wrong, though. That'd be sick to see him go and eat somewhere else. It's very quarterback parched league that we're in, at least, especially with this draft class. You know, the only quarterback you really have in this draft class is Fernando Mendoza, and I don't even know if I'm sold on him yet. I really like him. I want him to do well, but I really do not know if he's going to work out as a franchise quarterback or not. And he's head and shoulders the best of the draft class. It might be the worst quarterback draft class I've ever seen. And so there's a bunch of teams that would welcome Kyler with open arms. You got the New York Jets. You got probably the Browns. Who else is shit? Dolphins. You know, nobody's talking about Tua, but I don't think he's going to be back. Who else? Who else would love to have Kyler Murray services? Minnesota Vikings. Who else? The Falcons still think Penix is the guy. NFC South. Saints are happy with Shuck. Panthers are happy with Bryce Young. Bucks are happy with Baker. Commanders should keep Jaden. Philly, they're good. Dallas, Dak's not good, but Dallas thinks they're good. Yeah, there's a couple teams that would love Kyler Murray's services. Hey, guys, I know we still got a bunch of folks in here. Whatever platform you're on, follow, subscribe. Let's run this thing up, man. We bring good shit to you guys every day. And for the last time, I'll start this song up. This is Neck. They're not allowed to play it at LSU. Guys, I'm going to head out. We're riding a good wave here. We love you guys. We appreciate you guys. Bang that subscribe button, guys. Because In the Jar Football Show, we're live every weekday. We'll see you guys. Take care. Bye-bye. We'll see you tomorrow.